high side. Murphy shooting, save a rebound on the view.
Hey everyone, this is Casey. You are watching the Red Rip Duckwin All Sports Network. Steelers lose 28-14 to the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium on Super Wildcard weekend. The season is over, and we end with 5 straight losses on this yet another Steelers collapse. I'm not mad because we lost to the Ravens. I'm mad because this is deja vu all over again. It's noticeable with the lack of effort that this team has put in these last 5 games. Whenever they hit a huge high, the Steelers tend to collapse. Think about 2018. 7-2-1. I think about a 98% chance on making the playoffs, and you completely miss out. Oh, well, they beat New England that year. Oh, yeah, that's clearly a sign things are better, right? I imagine if it was worth 2 wins, we wouldn't be having that. We wouldn't be talking about it, would we? But no, it's not. And then 2020, the pandemic year. We start out 11-0, losing, never heard of her. Then we proceed to go down, and we lose in the playoffs in the very first round to the Cleveland Browns of all teams. Same old Browns, my ass. And then 4 years later, we do this. Go 10-3. We lock up a playoff spot after a loss to the Eagles, and we decided that was enough. Pack it up. We proceeded to lose 4 straight since then. It's the same thing over and over and over. I want to read off some quotes from analysts, starting off with the color commentator for Prime, Amazon Prime, Kirk Herbstreit, who sits along with Al Michaels. He says, "You're getting dominated. I don't see any fight or any pushback. It's one thing to lose to a talented offense, but where the hell is the fight? This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's nothing. They're just going through the motion." That's exactly, and if you watched the game on Prime Video or Twitch like I did, you could see what he was saying. There's no fight back. None. You're letting Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry run all over you. Because Derrick Henry ended up having 186 yards. And guess what? That was 186 out of 299 rushing yards for the Baltimore Ravens that night. Did this team even bother showing up and trying to stop him? And then there's Kyle Brandt from Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. He says 10-3, and they collapsed and lost 5 in a row. That's 8 straight seasons without a playoff win. 8. Some teams would love to make the playoffs every year, but some teams hate just making the playoffs every year because they want to do something more. This team is a prime example. This team is an example of wanting to make the playoffs, but they want to do so much more in the playoffs. We don't want to just make it every year. Does the fan base love it when you go one and done in the playoffs every year? Hell no. They want this team to return to a place where everything was super. They want to return to the Steel Curtain era of the 70s. They want to go back to the 2 championships and 4 seasons in the 2000s. This right here is not the Pittsburgh Steelers that they know. I know where the fan base is getting at. And then, of course, there's Bill Cowher from the NFL Today. Or should I say Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher. It's not that they lost. It is the manner in which they lost. There has to be changes in that team. Players and coaches. Well, obviously Mike Tomlin's not going to be gone. Because they already said they're planning on not firing him. So, we're going to have to look at something else. Terrell Austin, he could go. Arthur Smith, this might be his only year. I'm not sure what changes have to be made, but they have to be made immediately. Because this is 6 consecutive losses in the playoffs. Chuck Noll didn't have that long of a streak. Bill Cowher didn't have that long of a streak. Only Mike Tomlin has lost 6 consecutive times in the playoffs. If you're going to plan on keeping him, you got to change your game plan. You have to change something because obviously this is not doing anything. Because if I remember correctly, not one fan was optimistic about this game going into this. Not one fan had much optimism. Is that how you really want your fan base to act whenever you make the playoffs? No. I want to go into the playoffs feeling confident that we have a strong team that actually wants to compete. Instead, we just whimpered into the playoffs. And that's not how you excite a fan base. It's not. Why should I feel pumped about a team that doesn't show up until the third quarter? And even then, you could hardly even stop Baltimore. You just got straight smacked. Like, at least try for 30 minutes. Or heck, even 45 or 60. I would greatly appreciate it if we had more fight than we did. Because TJ Watt, he didn't have a single statistic. He didn't have a tackle. He didn't even have a sack. Not one thing on the stat sheet to show for it. And Cam did fight. He had a couple tackles for a loss, but that wasn't enough. They could hardly do anything out in that field today. Or Saturday, I should say. But the thing is, the Steelers have always fought to be in the worst spot to be in the NFL since 2019. Mediocrity. Not good enough for a top 10 pick. Not bad enough for a top 10 pick. Not good enough to even compete to win a Lombardi. And like I mentioned, Mike Tomlin is going to be staying. That's not a surprise. I didn't think he was going to get fired anyways. Would have been great, yeah. Because, honestly, something has to change if you want to be relevant again. That means Mike Tomlin, you got to make some changes to your game plan. Because if I was the owner, if I was a member of the Rooney family, I would say, you know what? We've had enough of this losing. 6 consecutive losses in the playoffs. 8 years now without a playoff win. Something has to change. I don't care if we fire both coordinators. I don't even care if we fire Mike Tomlin. Something has to happen. It happens. It happens to a lot of coaches. It happens to a lot of teams. If they're not satisfied with what they have, the best option is to let it go. And the Steelers, that's one thing they're afraid of. They're afraid of letting things go. But at some point, you have no choice. You have no choice. Because every year, the fans have less and less to look forward to going into the season. like next year, 2025, if we even get to 11, but it includes a streak, includes a hot streak to end the year, I'll be like, okay, we're on a hot streak. We have to play on the road again, but at least I feel more confident in the squad. At least I feel a sense of pride looking at this team. But no, we're constantly going to be limping into the playoffs. And that's not going to change unless you actually do something. Because I don't want to constantly look at the most expensive defense in football, giving up 300 yards to the Ravens on the ground. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see a team that actually has expectations and then proceeding to get blown out like they did in 2017 against Jacksonville. The scoreboard does not show how lopsided that game was. It didn't. Like, I would much rather tank the whole year than be let down knowing this team could have done something. Because at 10-3, I was looking at a possible AFC Championship appearance. But then, the collapse that happened, I don't care if they scheduled you the second half of the year from hell. You had so much momentum going into this. The Eagles didn't break them. It was this is just the same old story. The Steelers have been doing this for years, so why should I be shocked? The last time they were a true championship contender, 2017. And even that year, they messed up. When they looked forward to the AFC Championship against New England instead of looking towards Jacksonville, who blew them out earlier that year, and then proceeded to do that. Because right now, this team plays like they've given up. Once they get to 9 or 10 wins, they start packing their bags. Like, all right, we already clinched a winning season for Tomlin. Most useless stat in football, but who really cares anymore? And the players, they continue to say it's not like that, but that's exactly what it looks like. Once you reach 9 or 10 wins, gone. Like, I would rather see a team fight for 60 minutes just to lose than see a team that doesn't want to play for 60 minutes. Like, if you went out against Baltimore and you actually kept it close and you lose on a Justin Tucker field goal, that's all good. I at least know that you were at least trying to end a playoff year drought. But no, this team didn't even show up until the last minutes, until the very first minutes of the third quarter. That was the only time I saw passion from the Steelers. The only time. This has been the same story since 2018. I'm sure 2025 is going to be the exact same thing, but with an altered cast of characters. I hate to say it, Trey, but Days of Our Steelers is not going away. Unless they actually do something about it. At this point, everyone in Pittsburgh is going to have to make a petition and sign away if they want Mike Tomlin to go. But I highly doubt that Art Rooney's going to be listening to the fans for much longer. They might just let Mike Tomlin retire about, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Because right now, this team is the ultimate introvert. They're afraid of changes, and they constantly miss out on some very fun times because they're afraid to get out there and actually do something. And I know that this team says that they're not like this, but it just seems like it. I expect the same thing next year, and I'll probably see you guys in August when we have a new cast of characters, because this soap opera probably isn't going away anytime soon. I want to thank all of you for tuning in throughout the whole season. I want to give a quick shout out to Tom Grassi for raids, not only for the New York Jets game, but also the last game of the regular season, the Bengals game. Because of you, we just crossed over the 200 sub plateau. I feel like if it wasn't for you, we would be nowhere near it. So I appreciate you for doing that, Tom Grassi. So I just want to say thank you. Just thank you for all the support throughout this whole season. I'll make some changes for 2025. Hopefully better coverage. Hopefully I can get these videos out faster. But we just don't know what the future holds for this team. It's up for them to decide. Hopefully they can make the right decisions going forward. But that's going to do it for me. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the River of Duckman All Sports Network. I hope you guys stay tuned because I got some more projects coming out in the very near future. But until we meet again, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. And as always, final time this year,